Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. I have a super fun and easy project for us to work on today. Generally, I make these Croc Jibbitz out of cut acrylic with my laser cutter, but I'm going to show you how to make them without ever needing a laser cutter. We are going to go to Joann's and pick up some supplies, and then also we're going to need to buy stuff on Amazon too. Customizing Crocs is so stinking easy. The one thing that I love the most is that we can just make whatever we want, and then we can get reactions like this out of teenagers. It is amazing and the best feeling ever.
Do you love them?
I do.
When you go to Joann's, head over to the button section where you're going to find these like clay or wooden buttons. Joann's has a huge variety of buttons. The ones that you're going to be looking for are the ones that have this like weird raised back to them. You don't want to buy the ones that have button holes that you can see, because then your gibbets are going to end up looking like buttons and not really gibbets. Joann's also has these like metal buttons. I'm sure they would work, but grinding down metal and clipping down metal might be really hard, so I don't suggest buying those either. Okay, so let's head over to my craft castle and then we'll get to all the rest of the supplies we're going to need. You are going to need these Croc Jibbitz connector pieces. I'm not quite sure what the actual name for these are, but they are linked in the description of this video, and actually all the supplies that I'm using today are all going to be linked down there.
Okay, so the glues that you're going to need, there are two different options for these glues. This is a super tight multi-grabs 360. It is the comparable of E6000 glue. E6000 glue is very toxic and very bad for your health. Multi-grab 360 from Super Tight is non-toxic. A lot of people use this as a replacement of E6000. The reason why I am not going to use this today, it would probably work for things of this nature, but if you were cutting out your own acrylics, this glue right here is going to cause what I call as blooming. And do you see how there's some cloudiness on this S? It will be hard to see, but there is a little bit of clouding or a haziness on it. It's called blooming, and that's from this glue. So I don't particularly care for this glue on acrylics. It should work for other things like this, but there is another option of glue that I use for gibbets that I prefer over this one. But if you're looking for an E6000 replacement, this is the one you need to grab. The glue that I'm going to use today is the Super Tight All-Purpose Universal Glue. This is like a clear cement glue, and all of these are made with that clear cement glue. So you can see, like with this one, you can't see any of the glue on the back of this. It just dries super clear, and it's like liquid cement, so it's going to dry clear. I also use that same glue to glue my two acrylic pieces together. Okay, the next thing you're going to need is this, like, it's a little Dremel tool. If you have one in your garage, get that. This one right here is rechargeable, cordless, so you can take it wherever. It came with all these little cool things. Super easy to use, but you are going to need something like this, or if you don't have that, then like a little sanding block, because we are going to need to sand just a little bit, but this one's a little bit more handier for you. And you are going to need some snippets. If you have scissors, that's fine too. I just have some wire snippets. These are a little bit more sharper than general scissors, so I have these so we can clip off the backs. And obviously you're gonna need some Crocs so we can make sure that our gibbets look good. Okay, so first things first with this project, you just wanna get your buttons out. Then you want to take your snippers, and you want to snip off this little part right here as closest to the base as possible. It's okay if it's uneven. Okay, so these are the ones that I'm going to do today. Okay, you want to take your little Dremel tool and have that little sandpaper piece put already on there. There we go. And then you just want to turn this on to a light setting. You don't need it to be super fast. Then what you want to do is just take this and you want to rough up the edges of your button. Okay. Do you see how now it's nice and flat, and then also the entire back is kind of roughed up and feels like sandpaper? That's what you're wanting, because when you do this, then it's going to adhere the glue a lot better. Glue here adheres a lot better when you have a roughed up shape. Okay, we can either Wipe everything off with rubbing alcohol, or you can take these over to the sink and just get them a good wash, and making sure that you don't have any of this leftover residue, the sanding residue on the backs of your buttons. You want to make sure that they're really nice and clean. Okay, when that's done, you want to take out your Jibbitz. You could either do the black ones or the clear ones, whichever you prefer. Now there's gonna seem to be two sides to the Jibbitz, this connector piece. There's gonna be like a small size and a big size. How I prefer to do this is putting that small portion inside the shoe. So if I have my shoe and this is the small portion, that's gonna go inside the shoe. The big portion is gonna be what's the top of, so that's gonna be like what's gonna stick on to our little button. If you wanted to, you could do it this way where the smaller portion is on top and then that big portion pushes down into the shoe. It is harder to push in the shoe. I have not seen a difference in wearability with it being a different, doing it different sizes. I just know that when I put in that small one, it's a lot easier to move in and out of the shoe. So how I'm going to do is I'm going to take the big portion of my Jibbit, and I'm also going to give that a good sanding. Okay, you're going to notice I did not take a whole off. It just kind of rough it out. Okay, and the same thing as before, you can either wash these off, getting away all this dust, or we're just going to take some rubbing alcohol and we're just going to wipe the dust away. Okay, remember, I'm not going to use this glue. I'm going to go ahead and use the universal all-purpose glue. And all you want to do, this is like, I mean, super easy. Just want to do a dab of glue. You don't want a whole lot, but you definitely want it to be a good, you know, you don't want it to be crazy amount, but you just need a good amount of glue. And then just take one of your Jibbit connectors and push it in there. Okay, there's one. Doing the same process with all of them. Okay, when all that's done, essentially this craft is over. You are going to wait 24 hours for this glue to fully cure before you put them into your Crocs and start wearing them. Make sure you wait that entire 24 hours. Otherwise you are going to be unhappy and all of these are gonna pop right off. You wanna make sure that the glue fully cures on there. The other thing too to note is that you wanna make sure and press down really hard onto your button, just to make sure that we have a really good seal between the little Jibbit doodad and the button that you just glued it on. But there you have it. So after your Croc Jibbits have been drying for over 24 hours, make sure they cure for a full 24 hours. You're gonna be left with is just finished Jibbits. I'm telling you all, like, this was like the easiest little craft ever, right? So then when you have them done, I always put my hand in there and push them in. I'm gonna do a couple on one shoe and a couple on another. The easiest craft ever, and it's gonna make a statement because it's personalized exactly the way you want it. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to craft, and I will see you later.